Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're about to hit is one of the most thought-provoking things I've seen in a minute. A federal judge has ruled that illegal immigrants can carry guns. Now, you ever look at something and say something's too good to be true, and you kind of look into a little bit and just something feels off? We're going to walk through this right now, and I need your thoughts in the comments on this one because something feels just weird about this one, but we're going to break it all down, ins and outs, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think in the comments below. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And of course, please let me know what you guys think. Now, the content we're about to dive into is sponsored by American Hartford Gold. I sat down with the CEO for a moment just to kind of get his take on gold and the modern application. I'm going to show you a quick snippet of that conversation, and then we're going to hit this. Is it still pertinent today? Because a lot of the tendency of people is to go, well, that's an older thing. We have modern ways to make money and invest. So what's the pitch to keep gold still relevant in a modern society?
Sure. Great question. And when you look at the money that we're printing and the rate that we're printing it right now, it's really just a hedge against fiat currency. It's a hedge against the dollar. Government spending's been a runaway freight train lately, and you probably notice when you go out to buy things right now, your dollar's just been kind of whittled down to nothing, and the dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. And so it's just a hedge against currency. You see central banks buying it up left and right. They're buying it at the fastest rate in 50 years right now, do as the central banks are doing. But it's just a hedge, just an insurance policy that people use against what's going on with the devaluing of these currencies.
All right, beautiful people, we have got to talk about this one. This one has so many different layers and levels to it, which is kind of unusual in what we talk about around the 2A. So I really hit, I can't wait to hear what your thoughts are because I need some guidance from you guys on this one as well, just to get your thoughts. Me and Tim on Second Legacy had an amazing discussion. It went down like 800 different avenues. You can check the channel out. It's right down there in the description box. Second Legacy is the name of the channel. My initial reaction on this, and this is where it gets kind of weird, is, okay, 2A victory. But then you look at it a little bit deeper and you go, well, wait a minute. Let's look at this real quick. Let me show you some backstory. Then I'll show you the actual announcement and I'll show you the actual decision. And you start to pick up a few interesting things that I just want to hear your thoughts on. So right off the get, the judge that did this is coming out of Illinois. It's a Supreme Court judge in Illinois. That's not a gun-friendly state, particularly in the state-level Supreme Courts. This is the Obama-appointed judge. Again, that also doesn't check out with the normal advocates of the 2A. Maybe it's an anomaly, maybe it's not. But something doesn't feel right because they're using the Bruin decision to do this. Now, here's a high-level question. If illegals can have 2A rights, which are rights belonging to citizens, does that mean that they can vote? Does that mean that all the rights that are afforded to citizens are now applied broadly to anyone that is physically in the United States? Does this come down to felonious behavior versus criminal behavior? Because if it does come down to felonious behavior, then all the gun rules and regulations that are on the books can mostly go away. Is that what this means? Let me check this out. Again, it makes you think. Federal judge, illegal immigrants can carry guns, even though they can't buy them legally in stores because they don't have IDs. Let's continue here. U.S. District Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman ruled on March 8th that the defendant, Flores, who was residing in the United States illegally, had his Second Amendment rights violated when prosecutors originally charged him, which bars illegal immigrants from carrying guns or ammunition because they aren't citizens, right? The non-citizen possession statute violates the Second Amendment as applied to Flores, Judge Coleman wrote in her ruling. Thus, the court grants Flores' motion to dismiss. And I'm about to show you the actual decision here. But this is where it gets a little weird because it's almost like, and Tim said this so good in Second Legacy, it's almost like this Obama-appointed judge threw a grenade in the room, knew what was going to happen, and then just sat back and watched. I'm going to walk through that for you for a second. But this one, it really boils down to there's really two key component levels that I immediately react to. One, is the citizenship angle. If it's the citizenship that is no longer special, and being an American citizen no longer has the rights afforded to being an American citizen, and all you have to do here legally, here's a hypothetical that Tim brought up, full credit to Tim. If you're a fugitive in this country and you don't have gun rights, can you renounce your citizenship, become a citizen of Mexico, then come into the country illegally, and now you have gun rights again? That's an interesting question. Again, they're using the Bruin decision here, which makes it feel a little weird because the left has gone after the Bruin decision with all the knives that they can muster. Let me show you the decision here. Again, let's keep going. This is the United States of America versus Flores, the defendant. There's the case itself. Listen to the actual argument put forward by the judge. The government argues that Flores is a non-citizen who is unlawfully present in this country. The court notes, however, that Flores has never been convicted of a felony, a violent crime, or a crime involving the use of a weapon. Even in the present case, Flores contends that he received and used the handgun solely for self-protection and protection of property during a time of documented civil unrest in spring of 2020. Additionally, pretrial service has confirmed that Flores has consistently adhered to and fulfilled all the stipulated conditions of his release, is gainfully employed, and has no new arrest or outstanding warrants. The court finds that Flores' criminal record, containing no improper use of a weapon, as well as the nonviolent circumstances of his arrest, do not support a finding that he poses a risk to public safety such that he cannot be trusted to use a weapon responsibly and should not be deprived of his Second Amendment right to bear arms in self-defense. Thus, this court finds, as applied to Flores, unconstitutional. Now, a lot of this was based around criminal history, felonious history. Okay, well, where is that exact same thought process in the ATS rules for ghost guns, for the left's AR bans, for the left's mag bans? Because this entire argument is based around criminal activity and criminal behavior. If it doesn't exist, as this decision says, then they can have their Second Amendment rights. It's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong. Everything is good. And while we're hovering around this topic, I'm not arguing that 2A rights are a bad thing. What I'm saying here, because I'm staunchly 2A, but the citizen thing is a part where I get a little sticky on. Because if you can have this right, are you now able to vote? Are you now able to affect the destination of this country even though you are not a citizen of the country? That's the part where it gets a little weird. Again, this is why I think this is something that just seems off. Why would a leftist Obama-appointed judge make this ruling, cite the Bruin decision, knowing full well that higher courts are probably going to shoot it down, just to throw a grenade in the room? You could go any way you want on this one. You can go against the ATF or the executive bureaucratic status of, well, if there's no felonious or criminal intent or criminal behavior, then your gun control is completely unconstitutional. You could go down the right of, they're going for the citizen of a nation versus an actual right. So if you're physically here, you have all the rights afforded to a citizen, which completely nullifies the importance of being a citizen and the blessing of which we received. I don't know. This one is a positive 2A, but I feel like the 2A is being used to push a different agenda. I guess that is the best way I could say it, because my spidey senses are feeling something's a little off and a little odd, and it feels kind of like a setup, to be quite honest with you. The natural conclusion here, or the natural reaction from a 2A advocate would be 2A win, gun control unconstitutional. But at the exact same point in time, you go, but at what cost would they do that? Why would the left do that? That doesn't make sense in any of their prior actions or prior ethos. It conflicts, and when something doesn't feel right, it usually isn't right. But anyway, let me show you the conclusion here, because it feels off. The non-citizen possession statute violates the Second Amendment as applied to Flores. Thus, the court grants Flores' motion to dismiss. It was ordered on the 8th of March by United States District Judge Sharon Johnson Coleman. So, in summation, and again, I'm really looking forward to your thoughts here, I think it boils down to, another thing I didn't even hit, the criminality element of buying a gun. You can't buy a gun in a gun shop without a government-issued ID, which you can't get without a citizenship. So you bought the gun illicitly, circumventing the background check system, And that's what the left says is the solution. Yeah, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, all of these things aren't adding up to what would normally be a leftist position, and the entire thing feels kind of like we're getting played a little bit. I could be completely off. This could just be a two-way win. That's a positive for rights everywhere because it undermines and circumvents the ATF in a lot of different ways. But I don't know. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.